Well, hi everyone and welcome back. Sorry I've been away for so long. Those of you that are on my forum, you'll know that I've had a couple of medical issues, and I've also been in Ukraine quite a lot this year helping out the people there. Now I'm back, and I'm back for a couple of months, so I'm going to try and knock out a few videos and get back into the swing of things while I've got the time. Today's video we're going to be looking at the lower bush on the rear struts of the four-wheel drive models. The front-wheel drive models are slightly different. Now, for those of you that have got the four-wheel drive models, no doubt you've come across this problem already. If you haven't, you're going to be coming across it soon, where the center sleeve tears itself from the rubber mount on the inside, and then you have all sorts of knocking problems. It's inspection failure, it's all sorts of problems. Until now, these bushes have not been available as a replacement. Mitsubishi only sold the strut as a complete piece. Very, very expensive and a lot of work to change if you don't need to change it. Now, I've previously did a video on how to remove the rear strut, and I believe in that video I either destroyed one of these getting it off, or told you that you are likely to destroy it getting it off. They rust on terribly and they're a big problem. So this video I'm hoping will be of huge benefit to many of you, and certainly having brand new bushes now is going to save you an awful lot of money. Before we start, just a couple of quick things. First of all, a thank you as always to the patrons. I have noticed that many of you are still there even though I've not put out any videos for a couple of months now. I appreciate your contribution towards keeping the channel going, and the forum as well. So thanks to you. And of course, the usual warning that I have to give to everyone, because of the world we live in now, everyone wants to sue everyone. You can try suing me if you want, I don't have anything to take anymore. So a warning, a very firm warning. I'm not a professional mechanic. I probably haven't got a clue what I'm talking about, but for some reason lots of you still watch the videos, you still enjoy the videos, and you still copy what I do in the videos. So, not being a mechanic, I'm going to do things my way of doing things. Some of you will say I'm doing it wrong. If that's the case, please put your own video on or comment on my videos and tell me where I'm going wrong. But for me, the techniques I'm going to be using work well, and I'm happy to pass them on if you can make use of them. If you're not a mechanic yourself, or not mechanically minded, you should really seek professional advice before carrying out any of the things that I'm going to show you today. So yeah, let's get on with it. So if you need to replace the bushes on any part of the car, most people that are doing this as a job, as a career, or a serious mechanic at home that does lots and lots of these things, you're going to be investing in a kit like this, which is quite expensive and completely unnecessary if you're just a hobby mechanic. There is within here all of the different sleeves that allow you to take out all the different size bushes. But as I say, this is a very expensive kit, and for the majority of people, this is not something you want to spend a lot of money on, because you may only use it once, and then it'll sit in the back of your workshop for the rest of time, taking up space and gathering dust. So what I'm going to do today instead is show you a technique, one of the many techniques of removing these bushes and reinstalling them without a huge investment. So to do that, there's going to be slight variations here. Some of the measurements I'm going to give you, you might use different size nuts or washers or whatever, so you're going to use slightly different tools. But it's just a basic tip on how you can get these bushes out and refit them with the sort of stuff you may well have laying around the workshop. So what you're going to need is a piece of threaded bar. This I believe is 8mm, 8 or 10 should do the job. You're going to need a couple of nuts that screw onto that bar. You're going to need a couple of washers. You're going to need some spanners that fit the nuts that are on the bar. You're going to need a piece of metal that is 40 millimeters in diameter, 39, 40, anything around there. Now, one thing I tend to use is a socket piece. It's perfect, it's to hand, it does the job beautifully, and because I've already got a set of socket pieces, I don't need to buy any tools. I'm also going to need a second one. This is a much bigger one. When you see where this is going, you'll have to measure the correct size for you. But for the inner side of the bush, in there, 40 millimeters, thereabouts, slightly under is fine, would do the job. So, give me a second for a quick glass of water, and then we'll get on with trying to pull this bush out. Now, one thing I forgot to mention that I'm going to use the way I'm doing it today is a vise. It isn't necessary to use a vise. You may want to just use 2 pieces of metal sleeving or 2 socket pieces to do the job. But because I'm trying to demonstrate this as a video and I've only got limited number of hands, I'm going to use the vise to hold this in place. I've also got a couple of pieces of wood just to give the height, just to balance everything up for me. And what I'm going to do is just gently clamp the end of the strut in the vise, like so, just to give me some free hands to do the job. Now from the top, I'm going to use a large socket piece. This is going to sit on here. I've got 1 nut, 1 washer. We're going straight through the middle there. And then onto the other side, we're putting the second socket piece, 1 washer and 1 nut. Like so. Now if this all goes well, this is a really cheap and easy technique to pull bushes out without buying all the right tools. The bush itself is actually put in purely by being forced in by a machine. And to get it out, we do the exact opposite. So I'll put a spanner on that nut, a spanner on that nut, and with any luck, we're going to see something happen here. You can see the rubber starting to bulge at this end now as we push it through. Now, sometimes these pop out really easy and other times they can be a real pain.
Now will be one of those times.
Yeah, that one's in there pretty tight. It is slowly coming though. It looks like the rubber's actually split on this one. Oh no, it's coming through. Here we go. And that's out. So I'll just release this. So there we go, a really cheap, simple, easy way of getting out a bush without requiring any special tools. So with the bush out, we'll have a break. I'll get the next few tools and show you how to put the new one in. Okay guys, so reassembly is pretty much the same as disassembly. It's not a complicated job. The technique that I showed you using the 2 socket pieces and a threaded bar, many people use that to put the new bush in. Now, you can do this. I've seen it done on a couple of occasions, but as you can see, the bush is slightly bigger than the hole that you need to put it in. And if you try forcing that into the hole, the chances are you may well split the rubber as you try to go in. So I prefer not to do it that way. When you get hold of your new bush, you're going to see that that rubber is a really strong rubber, and it's got to be compressed the whole way round simultaneously to get it in without any damage. So for that reason, I use a reduction tube. Now, I'm sure you're going to be able to find these on the internet. Measure up your sizes of the outside sleeve, etc., to get the one that you need. If you can't find them, you can contact me and I'll be happy to sell you one. They're not a fortune. And if you don't have the proper bush fitting tools, this is a much cheaper way to go, and it reduces, if not completely eliminates, any possibility of damage when you're fitting in your new bush. Now, one thing worth noting on the bushes, you'll see that one side is a bigger hole than on the other side. So we need to make sure when we put it into the reduction tube, it goes in the right way round, or else your socket piece won't go over the top. It'll go over one side, but not the other. And there's one final thing we're going to need, some washing up liquid. Nice and slippery, it helps to get the bush in nice and easily, and once it's in, the washing up liquid will slowly dry, and then the bush will stay in there really tight without any problems. So here we go. Sometimes this doesn't go in first time, sometimes you have to use a different socket piece for final tidying up, but generally this is going to be an easy job. And do you remember I said about the rubber being really strong? It's really weird that when it goes through a reduction tube, it actually goes through quite easily when it's compressed all the way around at the same time. But just to guide things through a bit easier, we'll have a little bit of washing up liquid. And all we're going to do is a thin coat all the way around the inside. We put in the large end first. You can even put a piece of the washing up liquid around the bush just to make it a bit easier. There's nothing wrong with making the job easier. So we'll pop that into there. And you can almost push that through by hand now. Although it will try to spring out again. So that's the first bit ready. Now we're going to slip our bar through the socket piece, through the middle of there, onto the other side. I'll just need to adjust that a bit more. Right, a bit more. Like so. Now washer, nut, and then bit by bit as we bring it all together, we'll just try and get it all nicely lined up. Just get it into place first. Center everything up as closely as you can. You might choose to get some help with this. Many hands make light work, but I'm going to try and do this on my own. Now, as it starts to pull in, just keep on centering everything up. The more central you are, the easier it's going to go. But it will try to move. You can see I'm managing to do these nuts up with my fingers. It's sliding through that easily so far. Let's just hope it carries on going that way. Okay, now we'll get some spanners on there. And let's see if we can keep this centered as we go. slightly gone off angle there, I think. Yep, so I'm going to take that out and just recenter it again. If I have to do it again, I'll do it again. Okay guys, we're going to try again. This time I've made a small revision. Before we was using a socket piece that would only go onto the small end, and that meant the other end had to compress much harder over a bigger section of tube. What I'm going to try this time is a different size socket piece that will go over the big end, and that way hopefully we've got a lot more rubber to compress and hopefully it will go into the hole better. So we'll grease things up again and we'll see what we can do this time. Hopefully we'll have better luck. All the rest of the technique remains exactly the same.
You're going to hold it in place and I'll tighten it up again.
Yeah, let's see how it goes. It's certainly easier with more hands, but not everyone has extra hands around, so I like to try to do these things on my own, if possible.
It's not lined up.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Just get some tension in there. Okay. So let's try again. Okay, I will let you do that. I think it'll be easier because I'm fed up with keep doing this. Okay, I hope I'm not speaking too soon, but that's looking good this time. I forgot to measure how far we need to go in. Oh, go on, keep going if you can. Will that still go on there? Or if we run out of space now?
Almost out of space. If you can turn from the other end.
Okay, that should do then. With any luck, we can now pull this off. And now we can take in that final little piece.
Just going to pinch. Just ever so
Yeah,
slightly.
it will take itself in a second. But we'll see what it's done on the other side. I don't want to go too far through. The rubber does actually stick out very slightly. Okay, so it's very slightly out on this edge, so we can go in a little bit more. I'll just maneuver this so it fits slightly different.
That one won't fit in the hole if...
No. Might go to a slightly smaller one. Oh, actually I can't because we're on the big hole.
but you can
That's
push
nearly in.
the pin through. Because it's larger, it should take the rubber with it, should it not?
That's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Let's try it. All sounds a bit Heath Robinson, I know, but it is doing the job, and it's saving a lot of money, and it's not damaging anything. So we'll stick with this a second. I'm going to use another different socket piece. See if we can push that through that way.
So the trick to this, as long as you've got a good socket set,
Yeah.
you'll be okay.
Yeah, something like that.
That looks like that's
That
in.
looks beautiful. And there we go. Nice new bush. A lot of money saved. Ready to go using regular DIY tools from home. So what else is to be said? I hope this video has been of use to you. It may not have gone as smoothly as it could have done, but it did get there in the end. And as I say, unlike many other videos that you see online where they'll cut and edit and miss bits out, I like you to see exactly what we do, even if it's not going exactly to plan the first time or the second time or even the third. It's an idea for you of what can go wrong for you and how to correct the problems. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a really beautiful job. That looks like it could have been fitted at the factory. We've now got a perfectly good strut once again, ready to go back on a car, and lots more life and many miles to come in the future. So for this video, we're all done. Thanks for watching. I hope it's of use to you, and thanks again to the patrons. If you want to join my little forum, which covers some of the videos that we've been doing, that will be great to see you. It doesn't cost you anything. There's also the Patreon. If you want to perhaps make a little contribution to the running of the channel and the forum, that would also be much appreciated. If you don't want to, it's no problem. All the videos are going to remain free, and I'll keep on making them as long as I can. So for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.